Hey, good morning. This is Randy from the Wanderlodge Owners Group. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I made a good video, and we're going to try to post two today. Today, I want to talk about Aquahots, and only because we had a guy run from the hurricane that was down in Florida last week, and he ended up here, and his Aquahot wasn't working. It had been working, and then it just stopped, and it would just wouldn't fire at all. So he was working on it. He's pretty handy, and I have a bunch of parts and stuff, so I was loaning him some used parts as test stuff, and I've got the test box, you know, to test the fire and all that. Let me get that, as a matter of fact, and hold on, I'll be right back. Here, I'll show them the Aquahot there. And so this Aquahot is one I've been kind of working on slowly. Been there about 5 years probably. And it may go in my old 71 that I've been restoring. And so anyway, here's the test box. If you've never seen one, this, I don't know if Aquahot made this or, yeah, they did right there. Well, Bosto made it. And you can test the firing of the sparking thing here, you know, to make the gas start. You can run the motor, ignite. It's pretty interesting. I don't know, these aren't very cheap, but I've used it a lot, as you can tell by the dirty fingerprints through the years. So I loaned this to the guy, and what he was having, at first you pull the burner out, you kind of just aim it out of the door of the bus like that, and you run it, and this is where the fuel comes out. And we were looking at the fuel spray. It needs to be a big cone, no dribbles, no drops. Well, he had a lot of dribbles and drops like an old man, so the nozzle we figured was bad, so we put a nozzle in it, and then he got to looking. As he would move it, he had fuel leaking from the fuel lines to go here and here and go back. Well, here's one here, and anyway, they go back to a filter and back to the coach. Well, his fuel lines were all cracked and leaking, so well, we got to fix that no matter what, and that could be the problem with the spray. Put a new nozzle in it, put new hoses on it, put a new filter in it. Spray was beautiful. It was just perfect. But then when you went to ignite it, using the control box on the machine, which looks like this, it clamps right on top of the burner. When you hook it up, the machine up to that, he would get one spark from the little igniters, which are missing in this particular unit. But one spark, and it should just have a continuous stream of sparks like a spark plug. Well, so we thought the box may be bad. So we plugged a couple of used boxes I had into it, no change. But when we put the test box on it, it would ignite, just spark like mad. So, okay, that made us think we had a wiring harness maybe issue or something. So we start, you know, because you can wiggle it around, it may or may not spark. So he fooled around with it. He was mostly doing it by himself with encouragement from me. And it just didn't make sense. We could get good spark with the test box, not good spark, only one spark with a control box. So that made us start thinking, okay, it's a bad coil. And interestingly enough, I had a used coil, and over here, this is what the coil looks like. It bolts on just like that to the unit, and there's the little igniters. And so, you know, here's the wiring harness, and this is what inside of the control box looks like here. So we even took the cover off his old control box, and I had never really thought about why these little igniter things would spark. Like in a car, well, old cars, we had points, and new cars with electronic ignition, there's always something rotary turning to make that happen. But we were watching in the control box, and somehow, and all this stuff, whatever this stuff is, these relays would chatter back and forth. One would go off, on, off, on, off, on. And that's what made the igniters spark. So they were controlled by 2 of these coils, and I think it was these 2. And so that was cool. So there were times they would do the chatter back and forth and make it ignite. Well, these were working fine. We still weren't getting any fire here. 1 spark only. So we put a coil in it, and this is an old coil. We put a used coil in it and fixed it. So the coil was weak, but I just thought it was interesting how they controlled the igniters, the little sparkers, with this little relay here. With 2 of these, they used 2 of them. And inside here, there's some little contactors and stuff. And what we've taken these apart before. I think this is the contactor. It's bigger. You see it's got more heat sink on it. And I think that's the one that runs the motor itself, which turns the pump, the fan, and all that stuff. Anyway, I thought you guys might be interested in that. Here's the wiring harness. They get hard and from heat and crack. This one's pretty good. These wires here get really fragile. This is a fuel solenoid. It goes right here, turns the fuel on and off. And there's some other stuff in there I really probably don't need to get into too much. But it was interesting to the way he actually figured out the weak coil. And it just didn't make sense because the test box would, I guess it had more voltage going through it than these little contactors or something. It would work fine with the test box, would not work fine with the control box. So just a little Sunday stuff there to think about. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Next week is the WOG Rally. Hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching.